the morning when the sun was just first coming out, you know. People on the beaches started waking up and, you know, cleaning up in the, you know, in the water and shit, swimming. And all night, you know, these rednecks been out here, cleaning, you know. They'd been out here, their little boats purring out there all night long, you know, getting drunk and laughing their asses off at the hippies, you know. And so, you know, you started to swim out to it. They'd be so afraid of you, you know. They'd just swim off, you know. Their suppressed minds, you know, just couldn't take what was going on, you know. And they just said, well, this is just so much shit, you know. They're probably over there sleeping with niggers, too, and really putting them all down, you understand?
I was 18 years old when it happened, and it added 10 years to my life. My best friend at the time, Steve, talked me into skipping school. We drove out to the rock quarry about 20 miles north of town, where all the high school kids would hang out, smoking pot and skinny dipping on those days when the combination of 100-degree heat and 100% humidity meant algebra class was completely out of the question. This was one of those days. Later that night, we were going to rent this cabana right by the swimming pool in Steve's apartment complex to have a big beer blast and acid party. This was going to be a 24-hour experience at least. At this stage in my life, I was listening to a lot of Led Zeppelin and Rush and Pink Floyd and stuff. The Sex Pistols and the Ramones were just over the horizon, and music in general was dangerously too important to me, especially on acid. This was one of those days we were listening to Pink Floyd. I'm sure it was Dark Side of the Moon. Man, that day I got sunburned like a motherfucker. On the way back into town, we stopped by this guy's house and bought 10 hits of purple microdot in a film canister. We got back out in the car and ate 2 hits apiece. I remember it tasted kind of sour, like a little chunk of a sweet tart. I assumed this meant we were going to head out from here and buy a couple of kegs and start setting up the place for the party. But not even. Steve looks over at me and says, I'm going to drop you off at your house for a while and go take care of some shit. I was caught a little off guard. Dude, we just dropped a bunch of acid. I'm not going to go home and hang out with my parents at dinner time. You're crazy. Man, at least you have parents. I haven't seen my father in 13 years. Well, I don't want to see mine while I'm sitting there hallucinating. Take me somewhere else. But it was too late. Man, we're already here. Look, I'll come back and I'll get you in an hour. You can deal with it. I'll go get the kegs. Just be ready when I get back. Steve, I'm going to be frying like bacon right in front of my sister in her pep squad uniform. Why are you doing this to me? I looked over in the rearview mirror. My face was beet red and beginning to swell up to the point where it was looking like a cross between an overripe tomato and a half-deflated basketball. He was shooing me out of the car. Man, this was fucked up. I'll be back in an hour. Just call some people for the party. He tore off with tires squealing all up and down the alley behind my parents' house. I tried to gain my composure to come in through the back door and into the kitchen. Fuck, how was I going to deal with this? I hesitated and walked back out of the garage and back into the alley. I sat down for a second behind the fence. Damn, this shit is really starting to come on. I think for a second that I can hear the conversation going on around the dinner table, only I'm hearing my voice as well, along with my parents and my sisters. That couldn't be happening because I'm out here, they're in there. I pondered this for a minute, and then unmistakably I hear my mother's voice saying something in my direction. What in the world are you doing sitting in the garbage, she asked. I was really caught off guard. I looked around for a second, and wow, yeah, there I was, sitting Indian style in between 2 big hefty bags filled with trash. I looked up and shot out something quick. I didn't even think for a second. This lie just came flying out of my mouth by instinct. I think I'm getting sick. I think I'm going to throw up. My mom knew something was up. Are you drunk? Did you go to school today? Yeah, sure I did. I just left early because I kept feeling like I was going to throw up, but I think I'm starting to feel better now. I knew I'd better have an alibi going to plan my escape when Steve comes back in an hour. It would have been too miraculous of a recovery. So faking feeling better gets me up out of the trash and into the garage. The hard part was going to be the gauntlet of the kitchen and the den on my way to my bedroom. My father's surely going to be Checkpoint Charlie in between. I would no doubt be up for inspection, so the imagined nausea makes an immediate, convenient comeback as I'm up and through the door. Quick peek around and I see Dad is somewhere else in the house. Cool, I sneak through the house and into my room, locking the door behind me. Quickly I crank on the stereo, headphones full blast. But then I became obsessed with this race against time. Would Steve come back and get me before I'm forced to have some kind of distorted confrontation with my dad? I was sure he was going to bang on my door and want to talk about something. I looked out in the driveway and I saw headlights. It was Steve. Cool, I'm out of here. I get up and I head down the hall. He's standing in our living room and his face is beet red. He has this huge, unnatural smile on his face. We make eye contact and I intimate that we need to be heading for the door quick. My parents are sitting there at the kitchen table, and as I walk by, they both look at me knowing something's up. My dad speaks first. Sit down. Why, Dad? We're late. We're taking a couple of girls to the drive-in. No, you're not. What do you want? I'm not on anything. Why were you hiding out in the garbage? I wasn't hiding. I was looking for something. Wow, that was quick. It seems I was a swifter and more congenial liar on acid when I was sober or on pot. Maybe I'd hang around and vindicate myself for a while. Why were you sitting down in between the trash bags? You didn't look like you were looking for anything, said my mother. I was tired. Ouch, not good. You don't go to the trash to rest. I'm busted. My head is caving in. Steve begins laughing uncontrollably. Sounds like a fucking hyena. Everybody stands up as I head for the door. Come on, Steve, let's go. My parents are freaking out. But my dad wasn't done with me yet. Son, don't come back here. I didn't even look back. No problem.